Hello, this is October 26th at the University of Minnesota Shotokan Karate Club. You are welcome to train along. This recording is for asynchronous training for people who cannot make it to class. Okay, now make the line up. Sit up. Excellent, everybody. Sit up straight. So, yeah. Show me, right? Says any, right? Yep. And spread around. You're already there. Pick up one foot. Go around at your ankle and toes. Switch. Right? Other foot. Other way. Feet together across your knees. Other way. Feet apart. Around your hips. Are you staying for one class or two? Okay. So we'll still take a break switch on the way to around 7. But now we can go pretty much to 8 because they leave the place open until 10 or midnight, or 11. It depends on which day. Use your legs, tuck your arms around. Switch. Cross. Twist. You got the heels. Put one leg in front, put both hands up, swing your leg up with your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Feet press and kick way high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Squat all the way down. Put your feet up behind you. Right. Push your hips back, touch your chest to the floor. Stretch your back, your shoulders, your neck. Forward again. Feet in, squatting. Feet apart, keep it out, stretching down and folding. Back, forward, back, forward, back, shoulder over shoulder, switch. Side, switch, around, switch, hands up, straighten the leg. I gotta say I'm disappointed with the response time on that sweeping. Switch, Switch. 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 And drop down to the other side. Switch. 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 There you go. Try to get your foot flat. Try to push your knee out so it points the same way as your foot. Try this leg straight. Point it up towards you. Rotate all the way over. Stretch the outside of your thigh. Back. Over. Back. Over. Back. Over. And back. Switch over to the other side. All the way over. Stretch the outside of the thigh. Repeat. Back. Over. Back. Over. Back. Over. And back. Pull your feet in, sliding again. Put your hands to the floor, straighten your legs, head down. Roll up. Front hip. Switch. Side, side. Squeeze one knee up into your chest. Switch. 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 And switch. Just one more. Switch. Reach around behind. Grab an ankle. Switch. Switch. And switch. Circle your legs. Turn straight in towards you. We're going to warm up with some kicks. So usually there is a progression that people go through. They test, we call them Q ranks. And people start at 8th Q, which is a hand Shotokan for the test, and it's some very simple basics. But you copy along really well. So I'd probably like you to start with the second test, which is hand Edon. 1, 2, 3. Slightly harder basics. And then we'll see how it goes. So some people have gone like the second test, the fourth test, and then it's up to brown belt. And some people, it just depends on where you kind of need to work at. One of the worst things for people with previous experience is old habits. They come back right at the time when you don't need them. So I do have a thing though, and maybe I mentioned this. As much as you can, if you can say, well, this is what I used to do, and this is what I'm doing now, and don't mix them. There's two completely different things. New stances, new kicks, new punches. The more you think, oh, here I can already do a front kick and a step and punch, this blends and it gets confused quickly. So that is a trick that I'm sure I'm the only one in the world that developed it. But it does work if you can keep it separate in your head. Bend your knees. Pick your hands up at your own solar plexus height. Pick up one knee and put it back down. On, other knee. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let your hip come forward just a little bit. 8, 9, 10. Oh, the hips just a second. We're still in our warm-up phase. You're going to pick your knee up to your hands, front snap, kick, coil back, and put it back down. So it stays on your hand a long time rather than, it's down too soon. Keep your knee up longer. Kick, bend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a front snap kick or a my Gary. We'll try a back thrust kick. So the thing these two things have in common is your hip doesn't have to twist or turn. It only goes forward. And I want to put my hip between my foot and the target. That's my front snap kick position. In the back thrust, it's the same thing. I want my hip to drive towards the wall between that foot and there. If you straighten your support leg, the angle for driving is not good. Drop it down so that you can get in there. This is the back thrust we're going to talk about right now. You strike with your heel. You should coil your arms as you look to each side, and we'll do opposite sides. So look over your left side and kick. 1, switch over to the right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. You and you, and a little bit you. You turn your hip way over here, and then try and kick. It stays facing towards the ground the whole time. I don't even care if you look right now. I want your body to drop and hit, but don't turn and try to kick. It's a different thing. We'll do it again. 1, 2. Now bend your other leg, the one that's on the ground. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, around here we get it. The other thing I want to mention is that if you don't understand what I mean, try to tell me, hey, I don't get what you mean. And there are so many levels of, I don't understand what you mean. And part of it is confusing what you did before. Part of it is not understanding what I'm saying, or not applying it to you because your body awareness isn't there. So for instance, in our system a lot we talk about a support leg that I don't even think about. It's a bend your support leg. Which one is that? It's the only one you're standing on. That's that leg. Support leg, well, bend it. It makes it more useful, more pliable, more. If you stand on a straight support leg, you're teeter-tottery. So I promise not to keep going on and on with stories, but I used to be a girls gymnastics coach, and as part of that training, I went to a camp in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, where we studied many things, including kinesiology. And in the kinesiology course, there was a section that definitely applied to martial arts, and that is there's 2 ways to maintain balance. One, or to get stable balance. One is to get a low center of gravity with a big base. That's what most of our stances and everything are about. We at karate embrace that big. But there's another way called inline balance that is embraced sometimes by gymnasts, dancers, and that's like if you take a ruler and you balance it on your hand, it's pretty easy to keep it there. If you take a pencil and put it on your hand, it's not so easy, it flops over. So basically, the higher and taller you can get, the more easy it is to maintain that stable structure. So in gymnastics and in dance, there are specific exercises to reinforce the idea of getting up high and up tall. Some martial arts, modern martial arts, have taken to embracing that. They lock out this leg, and they get as tall as they can, and they kick with the other one. And part of that is it just isolates his leg so it can operate. So it has the advantage of, like, you can learn it right away. We think it has the disadvantage of not being able to move. Once you're up there, you're kind of stuck. So, not that it will never, ever come into be, as it happens. There's a kata that is very low in position, and then it stands up high, and then it goes back down low. There are times when they use it, but our system is dominated by a lower, wider, stronger base. If you go too low, too long, too wide, then that's not going to be good. One thing I have come to appreciate is softness in your joints. If you want to kick if you want to step, this joint has to be soft and pliable if I want to change direction. The more stiff it gets, just for that second, I'm stuck and I'm off balance there. Try, right now, we will try some side snap kicks. Probably way different than what many of you have done. And I want you to think of the front snap kick. It's actually called a yoko kyagi, which means it's a rising kick, like agi would be a rising block. Yoko's to the side. A front snap kick, you pick your knee up and kick, which everybody did. And the side snap, you do the same thing. You pick your knee up to the side. You just snap. It just goes up. Don't try to kick in. Don't try to lock your leg out. That's a different thing. This is a side snap. So try, bend your legs. We'll do your right leg first, I guess. If you want to, you can put your hand here. Pick your knee up towards it like we did with the front kick. Just to give you the idea. This hip stays on top of this leg. And when you kick, it stays on top. It doesn't go out. That's a thrusting action. That's a different thing. So kick to the side a couple times. Pick your knee up and snap. Go back. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Sideways. Try to hit with the heel edge of the foot. And that was a thrust. Still a thrust. You put your hand up like this. Actually. So this is confusing, because they often say, here, stand here. And you, hold that. Both hands. They hit with your heel edge, and people when they say edge of foot, some people think of the little toe side, and I guarantee you start going like that, you're going to start walking around like, ow, my foot, it hurts. It hurts if you hit this, it hurts if you hit people's hands. Heel edge is way down here on this part, but still the side. So I want to kick it with that side. Not like that, like that. It might even be, this is sort of a crescent. It comes around into the side. But this one in a basic is just up. Knee, foot, up. And its primary use, you put your right leg in front, left leg in front, sorry, left, is down low to your inner knee, inner thigh, groin. Something where I can hang on to the guy and go thwack without manipulating anything. A thrust generally takes more commitment, more time, different thing. So, thank you. Two things about this. Snap and out thrust. I want your hip to stay here. One side pushes down and one side pushes up. And then when you kick, it stays that way. It does not turn, rotate, drop, doesn't do that. Another indicator is your knee. Once your knee comes up, it lifts up more when you kick. It doesn't drop when you kick. That's a thrusting action. Later, when you do both the snap and the thrust really well, you can combine them at different times for different targets, different effects. But it's worth spending time trying to learn what the difference is between a snap and a thrust in a very basic concept. So all of these things I just told you, your hip position, your knee position, your foot path, those are indicators, but not the ultimate answer. Because you can totally back thrust this way, or back snap that way. It looks like the same thing, good picture. It has to do with what your center does. If your center squeezes, that's a thrust. If it expands, that's a snap. If it squeezes, it's a thrust. If it expands, it's a snap. Back fist too, punches too, but they tend to put them in categories where people can understand them first. It's a good idea. Kick with this leg a couple times. Pick your knee up, snap, and put it back. Pick your knee up, snap, and put it back. Coil your foot like this. Toes up. Yep. Knee up and snap. Better. Keep your head up. Turn your foot sideways more. Your hip is out too far this way. So kick shorter. Better? No, bend slightly. What?
Is it still a thrust?
No,
I didn't know I still did a thrust.
you are not. You are now snapping. You can just be a better snap. Your butt's out a little bit. So here's the other problem. That was actually pretty good. This is a problem for roundhouse kicks, side thrusts, and side snaps. Is going front to back, your hip has a lot of range of motion. Not a problem. Sideways, not so much. You get to a spot where, oh, that's not good. I can't lift it any higher than this. There's a place, sort of 30 degrees, where it comes up higher. You want to operate in that range and not in this range where it's in a bad spot. So you might be more flexible than me, but there's still a real limit to how your hip is going to operate going sideways. You don't want to wear out your hip joint. You want to move within the range. So we're going over half an hour on the request for somebody to go sleep before. So if there's trouble, this is bad because I can't get out. This is good, but I end up kicking over here. I want to kick over there, so now I'm going to turn my hip a little bit this way as I do the kick and come back. You guys see that? This can turn towards the target on a snap, and it turns away from the target on a thrust. Another basic idea. Try a couple on each side again. Just see how it goes. If you dip and snap, that's not bad. That's not bad. Try over leg if you have not lately. Keep your head and chest up. Better. Your chest collapses when you kick. Your spine straight. That was very good. Okay, so all of these things are so far external, except when I mentioned the expansion and contraction thing. So what you want to try to do is lightly snap, because that gets you our expansion part, and contract heavy. So it kind of goes light, heavy, down. Light, heavy, down. You kind of see? Try to recoil against your own leg, and gives you something to squeeze against. You hop. Not you need a kick. Yeehaw. Pretty good, you're kicking kind of far forward again. Stop hopping. You have to think about the down part. Down, up, down, up. Now recoil way more and keep your hip underneath you more. Kind of. Kind of. Everybody, if you could please recoil back to here, it will help. Touch your foot above your knee. There you go. Okay. To your right. One, snap. To your left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Not bad. Another hip again. So we'll go over that more. The side snap shows up more in kata than the side thrust does. But we've really downplayed it on the basics. We don't do it as part of the test as much anymore. It doesn't in your kata. And part of that is they're worried about people's hip joints. Not in a week or a month, but in 10 years or 20 years. They want your hip to still be good. And again, your left leg is on. If my target is down here, there's no strain, no stretch. Think of this. If my target's up here, maybe. Depends on how flexible you are, but it gets harder. And everybody, because they can, they kick up this high all the time, when the target should be way down more inner thigh groin, and this is side of the neck or side of the head. So this should definitely be this way and not that way. But people do it that way all the time. Can't help it that they're all wrong. The JK style, by the way, heavily influenced by competition, heavily influenced by college clubs, young athletic people, and it radically changed from the system the little old men did in Okinawa. Sometimes for the better, sometimes it became more dynamic, more streamlined. Sometimes they left stuff out, the important stuff. All right, we have roundhouse kicks and side thrusts left to do. Let's try side thrusts, since we just talked about it. On the side thrust, what I want you to do is keep your knee way up high as if you were about to side snap. But when you get this high, this is going to pivot and drive your hip in towards the target. So there's a big time pivot. Everybody pick up your right leg and look to your right. Let your foot go out and pivot this hip so your hips are towards the floor, and then come back. Not bad. Now go this way. Pick up your knee, pivot your hip. This way, bring up the leg, pivot your hip. That way, pick up your leg, bend your support leg, bend. Thrust. Pretty good. On the side, keep your knee up, thrust, and that's enough. So this is another one that at its very basic level used to be you pick your leg up and you stomp on somebody. On their thigh, on their inner thigh, on their knee, on their head, whatever's there. Side thrusting body, side thrusting head wasn't really a thing until competition happened. Or young people sparring. Part of it is I spent a lot of time reading about this and wondering why. Why is there no roundhouse kick? There's no roundhouse kick in any of our kata. Why? And people said, well, it's because you're exposed. And I did not properly understand that. But the way it works, you go up here again, stand for your right leg. In the West, and maybe where you guys come from, I don't know. We have the Marcus of Queensberry rules, which was you punch above the belt, anything below the belt is dirty fighting. The Okinawans didn't have that. Everything below the belt was like primary target. To the point where every downward block was a groin strike or inner thigh every time. So if he's going to try to roundhouse hit me in the head, he can smack me in the groin. You just do it. It would be so much of a habit that it would just happen. Now in our style, groin strikes are not allowed. So of course all these great kicks are out again. But a lot of the kicks they did were pressing kicks, where your groin is still kind of covered throughout the kick, or a front kick. The higher you kick your leg up, the more you get your hip out, the more exposed you are. So it just took me a long time to kind of appreciate that, even though a lot of the old masters mentioned it, I didn't get it. Every time your arm is here, like this, groin strike. So he throws a punch in my head, curl, groin, pow, every time. Just do it, bang. Downward block, bang. 1, 2, groin. Just all the time. This is so much true. I know, I said I wouldn't tell stories. Do you want to hear about Funakoshi? So Funakoshi was, that's Funakoshi. He was coming back on a train after the war. So he was in his later 70s, I believe. I would have to redo my dates to know for sure. And he got off the train and he walked like a little old person does. And somebody tried to mug him and take his belongings. And he said, you can stand up a little bit. There you go, a little taller. Keep close to the other. There you go. He said there were holes all over this guy's stance, meaning he thought he could hit him any way he wanted to. But he didn't want to hurt him, not like break his leg or his jaw. So what he chose to do was step behind him and grab him by the balls and held him like this on his toes, like that. And he said, I held him there until the cops came, the police came. He said, I felt bad. He seemed to be in considerable discomfort. So this is the guy going, oh, oh, oh! So I'm saying after 60, 70 years of training, this was his #1 go-to thing. Slap it or grab it. It was like the top two. And I see that in applications all the time now, everywhere. First downward block from hand, Shotokan, groin. Get there, groin. Head. Why does that make sense? Bends him over, hit him on top. So these things aren't always blocks like we think. Anyway, and I actually did not grab this stuff, just so you know. I only put my hand there. Although that was not the way it was demonstrated to me. The way it was demonstrated to me is the guy couldn't help but grab. And this was a different question. This was, why would a kata start like this or like this? And this is your kata. So what he said was, one of the original attacks was this guy would just reach out and grab the head by the balls, and you grab onto both hands and try to save yourself. That's how it starts. And then after, okay, whoa, get rid of the guy's arm. Well, can you kind of see it? It was so common that they grab him on the testicles that I just, nowadays, shouldn't do that. But again, in self-defense, who knows? So we just addressed it, right? So now we have to round up here. Put your feet out, your toes out. Kind of starts on this way a little bit. You need a big bend in your hip joint, big bend in your knees, big bend in your ankle, and you're going to pick your leg up and bend this hip so that your whole body can kick sideways. Not bad. So that's very good too. Try a couple times. Stand like this, push down into one side, pick the other one up and toss your hip forward. Then drop a little bit, toss your hip forward. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's not bad. We try to strike with the ball of your foot, this part, but your foot is edged. So not so much with the top of your foot. It's a perfectly good thing to do sometimes. Just work on the ball of the foot for a while. It's different. Almost. Now, keep your head up. And everybody keep your arms in front. So when you're kicking, these arms, no. These arms here, they belong in front of you. And you're going to kick between them. So, feet out. I don't care what side you start with. You're going to kick. Make pressure down, roundhouse kick. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Oh, there we go. So a lot of these actions look the same as kickboxing or taekwondo or many other arts. And part of what makes it different, sometimes it's the structure, but sometimes there's other structures that are also just as good. So sometimes it's just a style thing. But one thing that makes it, in my mind, real karate or not real karate, is whether you're using your whole body and moving from center, and then expansion, contraction. So go over here, put your right leg in front. Thanks. If you're turning and kicking with this foot, you're not using your hip and center. You want this part to do all the kick. Whoa, whoa. It'll come around and hit right in a second, and then you're going to transfer it into the target. It's way cool. So Sarah once told me a story that he was sparring with somebody and he roundhouse kicked him. And he said his big toe just touched and he collapsed on the floor. And I thought, yeah, maybe. And then, 10 or 20 years later, I was sparring with somebody and I just touched him. Boom, down they went. If you get the right alignment and right delivery, it is remarkable what you can do. It's when it's full of tension and the top balance and everything, it's not as effective. So your two choices, in my mind, for effectiveness is to use your hip, get your balance, and time it to learn it. Or do it like modern MMA people do. They swing the hip all the way through. But if you miss, then you're standing there with your back to the guy, and you're in trouble. So it's cool to know how to do both. I just don't think it's great to teach basic flaws as you go. Let's take 2 steps backwards. So those are the kicks we did. We did the front snap kick, side snap kick, side thrust kick, the roundhouse kick, and the back thrust kick where you're. But in all of those, your hip and support leg do all the work, and your leg is just the result. So it takes a little while. In a test later, for first and second degree black belt, you have to do 4 or 5 of those kicks together. Front snap, side thrust, roundhouse. Or front snap, side thrust, roundhouse, back thrust. And it's not a practical thing, but it's definitely a thing that says, does this person understand how to use their body to do what they're doing? Unless you're lucky enough to get an attacker to run in there, an attacker to run in there, an attacker with that one. Oh, second position. Left arm up, leg forward, get into that. Right? Turn your sideways, lock this way. And then, it's kind of like you want to hide behind your arm. Turn sideways. Yep. You're going to step and punch now with your hips straight for the stomach. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to step backwards, rising lock. So this arm comes up, this one crosses in front and locks with your hip sideways. 1. Turn your back knee forward. Turn your hip sideways. 2, 3. Turn your hip sideways, the other sideways. Move forward now, so move the outside block. Well high and turn. 1, 2, 3. Just like you want to know. Moving backwards, inside block. So the hand that's by your hip comes underneath and covers. 1, 2, 3. Moving forward, knife hand block back stance. This hand is going to come up by your face and go out in front while you keep your weight back. 70, 30. We'll do that to back stance. 1, 2, 3. Drop the front hip. More. You're going to have to go longer. You're trying, you can still drop your hip a little more, not touch your shoulders. And then get your hand higher. Higher, yep. Your hips out, so try to push this, yep, better. Over, backwards. This hand comes up. 1, 2, you did it. 3, 5, reps for a moment. So those are all the punches and blocks for the first test. Now we'll do the kicks that we already did. And, we have one new one, but it'll be the same as what we've done before. And then I want to try the basics for the second test. And that is just a little more complicated, but not a lot. But this seemed to screw up some people. All right. Left leg forward, fighting position. Front snap kick. So you're going to keep your hands up here while your leg up high. Snap or you out and down. 1, 2, 3. Turn. Back foot over, turn, no hopping. I know, he hopped. That's a bad example. So if you're facing this way, you reach over 1, 2 hip distances. So when you turn, now you have a hip distance between. Yep. You just reach over and pivot. Front snap kick. 1, 2, 3. Turn. I think roundhouse kicks is on the first test. It didn't used to be. Maybe it's not. Who cares? Roundhouse kicks. Pick your back leg up, pivot your hip, and wash the area. 1, 2, 3. turn. One. Arms down. Into you. Not up there when you kick. 2. 3. Turn. So this is a useful thing. We'll practice this a couple times and then we'll come back to it. The mechanics for a sweep and the mechanics for a roundhouse kick are very similar because they both come around, they both have a bent leg, and they both use your hip to direct energy sideways. So you're going to move from here to here, or even let this one go more to there. So your hip is fully committed, but your weight's still on this foot. Let's do that a couple times. Make your left leg in front. This leg goes around in a circle. And you turn 1, and then step on it. 2, yep. Step forward. 3, 4, more hip. And just let your legs slide along. 5, back leg over and turn. So this is why we're doing this part right now. Now you're going to leave your back arm here, your front arm, it's going to be your back arm in a second, and your body is going to move towards it. So this is here, and you go to here. This has not moved in space, but you have. So try that. You're going to move forward. Your left arm stays there. 1, and then come forward. Your right arm stays there. 2, 3, 4, 5, stop, turn. Now you're trying to kick that way. This arm stays. You're going to roundhouse kick coming around. You can make this, sure, make this. But avoid anything tightness, lifting, opening. This stays this way, your body closes into it. Ready? Take your time. 1, roundhouse. 2. Remember that arm? Pointed towards the target, like toward you. So this arm's kind of pointed towards my head, with your elbow behind it. This one is pointing at my stomach, but it comes forward more. Your elbow's like on your solar plexus. Yeah. This stays. Project kind of forward. 1. Better. 2. Feel it, just where it is in space. 3, 4, 5, and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, turn and out for a second. Here's a kick that we have not done in a while. I don't think. This is a side kick, a side thrust. It's not the one I was taught. It's often done in open styles and other systems. And the theory right now is that this is going to save some wear and tear in your hip. And it might. You're going to cross behind and turn your hip already. So it's this way. Like you're sticking your tailbone towards the target. Then you're going to kick with what was your lead leg. So this is going to be 1. This is going to be 2. And then you come back to that cube. Got the idea? Probably another 1,000. Left leg forward, I guess. Do that. Cross behind, turn your weight on your right foot. 1, kick, 2. Do that. 1, 2. Bigger stance. 1. Let your foot turn. 2. So the foot that's in front pivots on the ball of the foot towards the target, and then you kick with it. 1, yep. 2, other way. You touch. The outside edge of your parallel. Bend your knees. Bend, bend, bend. Cross. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, there. This is going to bend more when you kick. 2, drop. Weird, right? 1, 2, 1, heel. Turn up. Right. So those are really good kicks. You got your arms moving a little bit too much again. You got to figure out how they pull in when you squeeze. So the advantage, oh, Mike, you can put your left leg in front with your arms up. That's pretty good. There are advantages and disadvantages to every kick. The huge advantage of this one is it's really strong, and you can teach it to somebody in a day. In a couple minutes, they can kick something pretty darn hard. That's a good advantage. The disadvantage that what I've seen is once people learn this, it's the only way they can do it. So this is like, I'm going to kick you now, and then they kick. I mean, some people are really good at it, and it comes like a bullet, but they still, it's like turning your foot before you step. They know something's coming. The advantage of our basic, you can put your hand up just a little bit there, yeah. Our basic kick is that it coils from here, like a front kick or a side snap, and pivots to drive in. And he could move, and I could just change it to aim at him because I'm not committed yet until I nail him. This one, he moves one way or the other way, and I'm like, that sucks. I wasn't aiming. The problem with this, the weakness with this, is this takes forever to learn to do smoothly in balance with good direction. It's hard. It's one of my biggest challenges. The back stance and the side thrust, I had to keep starting over on. So if you go away for a few weeks or months, like this nice 6-month break we just had, you come back and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I remember this. What's wrong with this? It's not my stance. Front kick, not a problem. Roundhouse kick, pretty good. Side thrust. I couldn't do it. So I had to keep starting over. And I had a 6-count drill. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Until I could do it consistently. And then it's really good for versatility. Five-minute break. Out. Get some water. Do whatever else you want to do. Track our sweeper down. Okay. Well, thanks for coming for now.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
Sure. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try the basics. I'm going to break most of them down into maybe 2 or 3 counts. So, right? Feet apart, left arm, left leg forward, get it back. Right? This time it's just step and punch with the head rather than the stomach. But I want to do it in 2 counts. The first one is you're going to squeeze together as you move forward. The second one is you pull your drawing arm, shock your leg, and finish your stance. Your body, your legs generate the shock to hit the target. 1, 3/4 way through. 2, shut. 1, 2. Straight hips. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Back leg over and turn. Try 1 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn. With speed, guy on the punch. Moving backwards. We're going to do rising block counter punch. Oh boy. Start off Just step backwards like this. 1. Then twist your hip and rising block. 2. Back knee. And then twist your hip to counter punch. 3. Now when you step backwards, you have to switch your hands as you move your foot. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. All the way back. 2. Uh-oh. Rising block for your head. Push your back leg. 3. Yep. 1. Switch. Yep, switch your hands. Pulls way back. Yep, it's going to cover your face. It's open usually. Put your head up tall. Open this. This is going to be your block. You're going to twist your hip and block. 2, 3. 1. Reach. Switch your hands. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll try the same thing going forward. You're going to switch your hands and move 3/4 of the way through. 1. Twist. 2, 3. 1. On your face. 2, 3. 1. Turn your hips straight. Turn your back leg straight. Pull his head to your side. Cover up higher. 2. Twist your hip. Twist his leg. 3. 1. 2, 3. 1. Hang on. 2, 3. 1, 2. Just more. 3. Try going forward in one time. 1. Switch, block, counter. No. Other hand at that. 2. Switch, block, counter. 3. Switch, block, counter. Moving backwards one time. 1. Switch, block, counter. 2. 3. You're doing good. You need to have faith. You did all the right things. You just didn't think that you did. Counter punch. So, in the big picture, I have to block with this hand. But it's out here. So it switches. So I can do a big block. 1. Now you're going to block with this hand. 2. 3. Forward. 1. Switch. Block. Yep. 2. 3. Backwards. Key on the counter punch. 8. So quite often, when you do a counter punch, you end up switching your arms in between. It is really confusing, though, because I was taught there was only one way, and now I think there's like 5 ways that are perfectly valid, perfectly good, depending on what you think you're doing. But try, everybody, to learn the most basic ones, and then we can change to adapt to the situation. So here's what I think about different styles. Let's pretend there's 5 different styles that are awesome. They're all good, but they're different. Some of them always have their feet turned out. Some of them always have their feet turned in. Some of them have their feet turned straight. Some of them have their hips straight, their hip crooked, their hand here, their hand here, their hand here, their hand. It just God, they're all different. You still have to study all the little stuff of that style, because the little things add up to big things. If you do them sloppy, oh, it's good enough. No, it's not. It's not in the right spot. It's not backing up. There's no pressure on your body. That's good enough. No! Turn your foot in. You like to drive. Little things, they add up to a lot. So just do your best to work at whatever is part of that system. And if you switch styles again, having paid attention to systems, you'll start to switch a little easier. Start to figure out, oh, they always do this. Okay, I'm always this way now. So, and I gotta say, as far as Okinawan or Japanese styles go, there's absolutely styles that do all of their stances like this, and there's styles that do all of their stances like this. Big difference. And nobody's right or wrong, it's just different. So, here we go. We're now going to move forward, and we're going to do an outside block counter punch. And on this coil, one arm comes up and one arm goes out. So starting here, let's step forward with our left arm, left leg, outside block, right? And counter punch. Now moving forward, you're going to switch your arms and hold. 1, twist, 2, 3. Switch your arms. 1, 2, 3. Switch your arms. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn your hip more. So I'm going to push on your fist. You have to imagine this leg pushing into this leg by turning. So I push on here, turn it in, turn more turn, squeeze his knee in. No, in, squeeze. It's not turned enough to help you. Twist. Get more. Push like that. Good. So, common for you and you and you is you two have your hip turned far enough, no problem. But when it's there, it's just done. It's not doing anything. You have your hip just short of where it's supposed to be, and you're trying to push, and it's not a good position. So this has to feel like it's turning through your center into this foot, turning, like it's going to direct the energy into the floor. So whenever you hit here, push off your leg. Better. Think that way. So you don't just turn because it's fun. You turn because you're trying to hit something. Your body, your legs. Switch your arms. 1, forward. Shoulders. Other hand. 2, 3. Still turn. Quit moving your feet. 1. Other hand. Good job. I'm sorry. This is good. You have to switch your hands. I'm sorry. You let me go. 2. Shoulders out. Down. That's way stronger just by dropping. 3. Turning. Your leg. Oh, better. So now it's active. It's trying to do the work. 1, 2. Put some luck. Bend for me a little more. 3. Yep, good job. So when you straighten your shoulder out or your elbow out too much, it wrecks your shoulder. So try to get your elbow point down, which might mean your fist won't turn all the way over for a while. Head up tall, look straight ahead. Push with your legs. That's getting there. That's pretty good. Another weird thing, if you look this way for just a moment, is your energy goes where you look. So there used to be a longer demonstration of this, but if you look straight ahead, you drive with your legs, push! Come on! Hurry up, you're wrecking my demonstration. Push! There you go. It's way better. Look over there. Push that way. Push! Isn't it weird? You'd think you'd be able to? So people push that way. Guess what? There's no power going that way, not like there could be. So a lot of that we're looking straight ahead all the time, it's because that's where your energy goes. At the person. So sometimes when you're thinking, you look down, some people look up. But it's important to engage the person in front of you, even if it's imaginary. There they are. I can see them. Some of the exercises used to throwing people on the floor when they look down and look out to the side and they go. It was fun. Because they look foolish, even though they were really trying hard. Moving backwards. Counterpunch out right now. Step backwards, coil your arm. One. Well, try to the other arm. 2, 3. Twist, 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 twist. Down. Relax your shoulder. 1. That'll coil it. 2, 3. That's better. That's better. You can tell the difference, right? One side just, it's a habit. It's a habit for you to do that and then stop. And you have to figure out, well, how do I hit with it? How do I make it hit the person? 1. Other hand. 2, 3. Shoulders relaxed. Use your centers with your legs. 1, 2, 3. You actually, your back leg is a little too bent. You can still push forward. Taller spine. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Try going backwards in one count. 1, coil, lock, counter. 2, coil, lock, counter. 3. Try moving forward. 1, coil, lock. Put your legs in, not your shoulders. 2. Turn that hip, turn it, push with it. 3. Count on the punch. Moving backward, inside block. For our basic inside block, this arm that's out goes way down here by your hip. And then it twists out. So halfway through, your elbows are very close together. Then you pull apart. Then you go. So we'll work on that for a little bit. This arm's going to coil underneath. This one reaches out. 1. Then you twist your hip and pull your elbows apart. 2, 3. Counter punch. This hand goes underneath. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Shoulder moving forward. 1. Straight hips. All your weight on your back leg. So on the coil part, your hips are straight. And then when you twist, they move. 2, 3. High up for a second. There it is. So on the opposite rotation actions, like many knife-hand blocks, almost all inside blocks, some downward blocks, people turn their hips too soon. They turn them on the preparation. And this is a rule for keyhole and for understanding shot, but sometimes it changes when you do application. So what I want to do is coil, and when I'm going to let the block go, I shut. So I turn my hip, and it's a big action. But if I coil my arm and turn my hip, now when I shot, there's no body action left. I can't use my legs. So 2 things help to maintain your pressure. One of them is a good drawing arm. This arm should be strong, reaching forward. It helps keep you straight rather than like, okay, it's kind of hanging out, my hip is kind of crooked. So it just helps. If you want to, you can think you're hitting somebody. The The second thing is your leg commitment. You have to build a base in the middle. And that's what the main reason I do stuff in two counts. So this is no base in the middle. This is what I'm going to do. Squeeze, go. Squeeze, go. When you decide to move, you shot. Because you're in control of your balance. It's true for punching, blocking, kicking. You get to decide, or I do when I count. When you move, you don't just move because you're putting up. Too late. Somebody hit you. Move. So, see how that goes. Left leg forward, counter punch up. Coil and move forward this way. On. Reach forward with your other arm. Close. Once it's down by your hip. Yep. A little out. Deeper or longer. And twist your hip. 2. A little longer stance. 3. Pretty good. 1. Hip forward. Nope, you're doing good. Yep. 2. Twist. 3. Punch. Much better. 1. 2. 3. 1. 2. 3. Moving backwards. 1. 2. Double in. 3. Turn more. 1. 2. Straighten your wrist a little bit. 3. 1. 2. 3. 1. 2. 3. Hey. So this is coming along great. There are 2 things I want to point out as long as we are working on it. Forgot what one of them was. It was important though. Oh! Yes, now I know what it was. When you twist your hip for anything, you have at least 3 choices, sometimes more. But let's say 3 basic ideas. And let's say I'm doing a jab counter punch. I can leave this hip here and move the rest of my body forward. And then if I leave this hip here, now the whole rest of my body comes backwards, which is not great. It's great for this, not great for that. Because I'm going backwards instead of forwards. Can you kind of see that? I can leave my front hip here and move this back one. That one went that way, but now when I punch, it all goes forward again. Backwards, forward. Not good for this action, good for that action. Or I can be in the middle, and they both give a little. Give a little, give a little. I'd say most of the karate world kind of tries to do that. I embrace one side or the other side more. So all of you, when you're doing your block, I'm thinking, hey, that's pretty good. Good, good, good. Then it comes time to punch, and you're going that way. So from here, I want this shoulder and this hip to stay here, and the rest of your body to come forward to meet it. That's better. So it feels like you're going to fall over forward, because you're used to going backwards. That's very good. So on lots of blocks, this is a generalization, on lots of blocks it is okay to move from this hip and drive backwards because you're trying to escape anyway. And then use this same hip as your center for driving into the punch. So all of you did it when I told you. Just try to pay attention to it as we go. Left leg forward, counter punch up. Step forward, and do that. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Bad hip. 2. You turn your hip before you block. 1. Better. 2. Try going backwards. Keep your head up. Keep your hip underneath you more. Yes. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Double. 2. So that was way better. Everybody did better. You could kind of feel when you were going forward on the punch. That's an important thing just to remember in general. When you punch somebody, you want to feel like you're driving forward, not feel like you're floating away from them. So I said there were two things. Here's the second thing. If you pull your arm across and you pull it a little bit, it springs back to where it was, especially if you keep your body nice and straight. This is your body's natural elasticity. Try it. Pull your elbow, let it go. Pull your elbow, and then that's the block. Pull your elbow, and let it go. Yep, it's got that little spring to it. Now you're going to try that by bouncing your arms, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you know it's at the beginning of some of your kata, or in the middle of kata for that matter, but it's also part of this very basic inside block moving forward. So, we're going to practice. Left leg forward, better punch up. You're going to go back in here again with your crossover and hold. 1. This is where that arm is going to come bouncing across. You're going to go bounce, 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 bounce. And then count 2. Yep. 1, 12. Bounce this arm across, bounce, 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 bounce. 2. 1. Bounce, bounce, bounce. 1, 2. That's much better. Can you feel it? It's more, they say, dynamic. It's got that elasticity. Now try to get that one moving forward in one count. This is going to come across. Bounce, go. 1. 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Try it going backwards. Bounce the arm. 1, go. Too slow, bounce. 2. Good, punch. 1. Bounce it right away. 1, 2, 1. 2. Don't let it hit your hand. 1. My God. 2. 1. 2. I didn't count yet. Counter punch out. No, that's up there yet. This one has to go against your body. 1. 2. I didn't count yet. 1. That was good. 2. No. Got a big head. 1. Yes. 2. 1. 2. Feel that quick little whoop? That's important for like all movement. Don't just leave it. Do, 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 do. Okay, now I go back. Do, 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 do. Oh, now. Whoop. Whoop. Relax your shoulders. Moving forward 1 count, so you do inside left counter punch. The hand that's out is always going to bounce across. 1, block counter. Counter. 2, bounce counter. 3, behind the punch. Backwards, 1 count. 1. Down. 2. 5. Okay, so when I was counting and we did 3 or 4 and you're moving really quick and then I said, okay, now we're going to go backwards, but you thought I was going to go forward, you had this bounce of depth. So he was like, 1, oh yeah, good. 2, oh yeah. 3, during that time when somebody would nail you. So you stopped it right away, but what is an indication that your initiation is that little bit of on your way. Just a little. So just pay attention. Next time you stutter, try to get it underneath, not over the top when you. It's like if I'm going 1, 2, stop. Oh, I got that part. No, underneath, not on top. Not supposed to stand with your hands on your hips. Bad attitude. Oh, we'll let it go today. So, a lot of this doesn't matter much anymore. But in the olden days, when I was trained, and the masters would come from Japan, they were very strict on etiquette, even if they didn't know why. So there are things you can do. You can stand with your feet apart. You can stand with your feet together. You can't stand with your. This is like there's your body language will say, "Yeah, I don't care what you have to say." So you put your hands in front. You put your hands by your side. You can put your hands behind you, but I wouldn't recommend it a lot because you're open. But now, so what used to happen is somebody would be training and listening, and this guy would get upset at them and start to pound on them or critique them or punish them. They didn't know why. I don't even know if the guy knew why, but the instructor was feeling like he was being insulted all the time by the way he was standing. So, again, you don't see that as much anymore, because even in Japan, I see videos of people watching like this. They don't mean anything by it. But the old tradition was that you should always be paying attention. And it's better to be just a little more formal and a little more together than lackadaisical. And you'll fit in better if you can start to pay attention to what's going on with form and direction. I don't know. So I tell people things because in some dojos it really matters, and some it doesn't. And the problem with all this etiquette stuff is sometimes it becomes cartoonish. Yes, sir! No, sir! I am! I don't know, it doesn't help them, right? It's just pretending. So this is what I want to say, a very sincere effort at trying to be respectful to your training partners, to your instructor, to yourself. The way you stand, the way you walk, it projects your energy. So that's the other one, which I know I've demonstrated before, but maybe not to you, is if I say, could you guys come over here, and you say, sure. They think, oh, they don't want to train. And I swear to God, we would be doing punching in Kibarachi, we'd be doing push-ups, we'd be doing burpees, we'd be doing, and then, okay, line up. And the guy go, oh, you want to train more? Oh, okay. And finally, this guy would get the idea, oh, I'm supposed to move. And so it's not, again, super militaristic, it's just alertness. Move as quickly as you can from one place to another, line up over there, everybody moves. It's a nice development, I guess. Knife hand blocks. So we didn't work on this much with you, but we will tell you now. One foot, your right foot, is going to point towards the mirror. Your left heel goes in front. This is a T, or an L position. You're going to drop your weight and step out with your left foot. So this is a back stance, or a kokutsudachi the way we do. That's fine. It doesn't have width. Some styles do. The other extreme is people put their foot in the middle, like I mentioned the T before. Some people have their heel up. Lots of people do. We don't put our style, it's planted. They say 70-30 weight distribution. So if you drop the line down, it should be back 70% of the way. If that makes sense. So they say this is 70-30, this is 60-40. They used to tell me that it didn't make any sense. But when I started to tell people about where the middle of your body is, they started to go, oh, I get it. It just depends on how your brain works. The front stance position, as I mentioned before, is like you're pushing on something heavy. But if there's nothing there, it's very unstable. So they take this part and stand it up, but your legs are still pushing on something heavy. The back stance is derived from a flinch that somebody's trying to hit you. Your hands come up, your weight goes to this foot anyway, and you're just putting this hand and foot out as a protection. So, shows up in kata all the time, and it's a little unique to our style the way we do it, but it's a blend, and if you learn it well, you can do it. So anyway, remember to do like this. Step over the left leg, you drop off. One, and come back. You got a few. Go back. So this is an outward pressure stance. Out, out. Don't let your knees collapse in. 3. Great. Go back. We're going to do your arms. Your left arm is up by your face. Your right arm is out towards somebody's neck or collarbone. You're going to pull this hand back and stop kind of with your forearm over your solar plexus. This is much more forward than a lot of people. A lot of people teach it way back here, or I've even seen down here. I really want this up here. It'll make a difference later. This comes out. It's the same position as an inside block or an outside block, except your hand is open and turned. This part's the same. So, pull your hands, step over the foot and block. 1, pull back. 2, pull back. 3, pull back. 4, bend over. Pull back. 5, switch feet, switch hands. Left foot this way, right foot in front. Just step on into your stance. 1, pull back. Look straight ahead. 2, you have a tendency to do this. Try to keep it underneath you. Back. 3, back. 4, turn sideways more. The other side does. Back. 5, back, hands up. Those faces towards you, up by your shoulder. Straightens it out. Towards the end, you rotate both. That rotates, that rotates. 1, back. Towards the middle of you more. Yep. 2. And then think about hitting with this bone in the bottom right there, right there. Elbow inside. So not like this, like this right now. Back. 3. Back. Extend this more. Reach, 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 reach. Elbows together. Bring this in this way. Yep. 4. Turn sideways more. You're still getting hit. Turn your back. That's better. Back. 5. Better. And you're over. Back. 6. Turn sideways more. Drop this hip. Increase. Back. 1. High rest. This position feels little, and it feels better to go bigger. But there are a lot of problems with that. Can you come up here and block with your right hand? Yep. No, that's good. See how big that is? You feel like you're chopping on something. Don't move. But if something's punching body, it doesn't stop anything. This is all exposed. So you have to, oh, that's better. That covers that and that. Now turn your body sideways. Yep. Can you see why? This matters. And maybe I'm going for head. Oh, you're still fine. But if you block like this, and I'm aiming for a bowl that just covers nothing. So the other weird thing is you want your elbow in on all these blocks, this block, this block, this block, this block, as long as it's actually a block. The more this happens, face that way. Yep, then let your elbow out. Let your elbow out. Yep. That looks effective, but this is pretty weak, and his head's still there. And this is fully exposed. Put your elbow in. Yeah, whoa, whoa, whoa. Covered, covered, covered. Pretty good, right? So, the little thing makes a difference. If you're using this for a strike, though, if you're striking down on somebody's neck, then your elbow goes out, not quite that much. High neck because you're using this. And that's just because that's the way it fits in here best. Yep. So put your right leg in front. A little bit out with your elbow. So if he's hitting me, this fits here. Oh, that's perfect. But if you're blocking, it sucks. It doesn't. Oh, that's good. But now if you try to strike with that, that doesn't fit. So it's two different things. So I change them when I do it. In the first knife hand block and hand Shotokan, I'm this way because it's a block. And the next one is a strike. I'm this way. Because I'm going block, strike, strike. Most systems do the same thing all the time. Nope, it's always this way. Always others. That's because they don't know what it's for. They don't use it, they just do the form. So I am big on adapting the technique to work in that situation, but that's just a very basic difference. If I'm using this to strike, that's awesome. If I'm using this to block, that's terrible. That's a block. So two different things, not one's right, one's wrong. Two different purposes.
Quick question.
Yep.
Is there any reason why you need to keep this?
Oh, lots of reasons. One reason, block, is because this is the primary target in your, for a knife or a gun or a punch in your solar plexus. That covers it. If you pull it back, open. The other one, remember when I said this, if you twist your hip and punch, this is too late.
Yes.
If you punch from here, it's just right. So it's a close-in idea. There's a million other reasons. One of my favorites, since I already touched you, you got my collar here. This hand pulls this way, and this hand pulls this way. There's my knife hand block. Or this way. Straight. Can you see it? Yeah. And there's more. Here's this way. He'd pull me in close. Oh, there you go. I would cover with this. I'd hit him with this, hit him with this, hit him with this, hit him with this. And then I end up. Can you see?
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Neither.
Yep. Or lots of them.
Yeah.
So then the question is, well, why would your hand be here, ever? You want to know that?
Yes.
There's two obvious reasons. One is coming back to, let's say you're here, he's grabbing, and he's going to punch you. Ah! This is a terrible, terrible situation, right? I've practiced years, you're like, oh, I've practiced years of shifting, blocking, but now he's holding on to me, and I can't shift. It sucks. But this is much more likely to happen in self-defense, right? So I have to cover this arm, but he gave me this one. So I'm going to keep it, I'm going to pull this in. Then where would I punch from? Boom! Right there. So it starts to look like 1, 2. That's one reason. The other reason would be over here again. He punched with his hand. I'm going to pull it. Whoop! Down into here. So, again, there's not like one right way. There's different ways for different things. So, people say, oh no, it goes here. Some people say, oh no, it goes here. Some people say, well, it depends. What are you going to do with it? Why are you doing it? Sometimes it's just a teaching tool. So you have a relatively lazy drawing arm, and I yell at you to do this. And mostly that's because I want your body to start to squeeze. Whoa, whoa. And if you always leave this lazy, it's hard to get, it's hard to refine it. So there's a twist and a squeeze and a pull that'll help your body start to expand and contract. I'm sure you practiced the breathing exercises from video number 3. That's all we did, is pull and push. We're doing knife hand blocks, that's what we're doing. Start here. 1. You're going to coil your right arm up and squeeze your knees in. 1. So you're this way, elbows are close together. This hand's blocking or punching or pushing. And then you twist and block. 2. Higher with this hand. And then this hand comes up by your face. 1, 2, 1, 2. Turn your front heel in. 1. Knees. So here your knees and elbows are squeezing in. You can be a little longer. Yep. Then squeeze. And then now, so they're squeezing in, and now they're going to pull apart. 2. Better, better. We'll work on it. 1, squeeze. 2. Relax your shoulders. You have to do your legs. Turn sideways more. 1, 2. Drop your front hip. 1, 2. Backwards. 1, reach. 2, twist. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. Elbow down. 2. 1, 2. So from our talk before, if I'm moving backwards, I'm almost always blocking. I mean, what else would you do? You're getting away trying to block. So your elbow belongs in, and your body belongs sideways. Going forward, it might be different. I might have been blocking, or I might have been blocking here and striking here. Block, strike. So your hand would end up different from the earlier speech that I'm sure you all memorized. Moving backwards. 1, 2, turn. 1, 2, 1, up. 2, 1, 2. Moving forward, 1 count. 1, squeeze, go. That same bounce that you had on your inside block, now it's here. Bounce, go. 1, bounce, go. 2, bounce, go. 1, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm moving forward still. 1. Moving backwards, just half speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still did it. 6, oh, that was better. 7, way better. God, if only I could do my hands at the same time. God. Very good. All right, we're going to try hand Dinan. Take 1 step backwards. Sarah, come here. And Lauren up front. You're kind of in the middle. Yep.
Are we in just one big line?
Yeah, 1 big line. There you go. So this kind of starts in a back stance, and you pick your hands up to defend yourself. And we'll talk about why later. Feet together, out. And knee down. And knee down. Boy, left foot, right foot. Drop down and do this. 1. And twist your hips and do this. 2, 3. Now coil your hips and do this. 1. Sideways. Yep. Pull your back hand up way high. 2. That's all right. Put this up by your chin just a little bit more. This one's out a little bit further. So push on knee. Push on my other stick. Okay. 3. Pull his hand to your side. You stack your hands on stop and look to your right. 1. Side snap, back to strike. 2. 3. Knife hand ball. 2 more knife hand balls. 1. 2. I'll experience strike like this. 3. That way. Nope, you got that right there. Yep. across where our wrist is. Shoulders down, bend your knee. Now you're going to twist and do 4 knife hand blocks. 1. And then 45. 2. 1. Exhales. 1. 2. You're going to keep more weight back there. Yep, and make this foot lighter. Now, this is a weird one. Your right hand comes across and does the inside block on the wrong side. 1. Oh, that was so close. So you are back here. Your front foot moves over and do an inside block. Yep. Leave this here. Twist your hip more that way. Push on knee. By twisting your hip that way. Yes! And sink. And you're going to kick and punch. 1, 2. Kick, punch. Yep. Now you block with this hip. In place. 1. Yep. Push on knee. Yes! In 3. Very nice. Shoulder up. Then an augmented block. Manoku, it's called. 1. Front stance. Then turn and downward block. 1. Technically, this is in line. That's the way they teach it, just in this one place. Turn your foot in a little bit. Yep. And then you're going to reach and go rising block 45 degrees. 2. Then downward block again in line. 1. Reach. 2. Higher. Higher. Very good. Okay, got it? So this used to be the first content they taught to children and to the general public when they started teaching in public. And then when they brought it to Japan, Funakoshi thought it would be easier for little kids to remember this one. So we switched it. We made this one first and this one second. I think this one was made to be a self-defense kata. And this one was made to be a little bit more like basics, where you step and step and step. At the time, they did not have basics. They only had kata and body conditioning and applications and part of the work. So I think that's interesting. Try one more time. Hand down, feet together, out. Like that. Hand down. Boy, left leg, right leg. 1. A little higher with this, strong. 2. Keep weight in the back foot, push here. 3. Shoulders down. 1. Higher. 2. Push your hip towards me, yep. 3. Stack. 1, 2, 3. Getting better. 2 more knife hand blocks in the spear hand strike. 1. 2, 3. Push, 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 push. 1 knife hand block. That's a very nice stance. 2. Not as good. That's a quick count. 1, 2. Go across the inside block with your right arm. 1, 2, 3. Kick punch. 1, 2, 3. Augmented block front stance. 1. Front, bend. Spin downward block. 1, 2, 45. 1, 2. Very good. Line up and flex. Questions? You guys did great. What I am happy about is when I try to get people to do changes and they actually change and do better. So that was awesome. Everybody did. Whether or not those changes stick with you have a little bit more to do with you than with me. So if you practice it a little bit on your own, that's good. If you think about it and visualize it, that's like almost as good. So, anyway, show me, right? Up the gun, right? Thank you all for training, class dismissed. Right? So, thank you. Bye, John Noel.